It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles.
Welcome in. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. Vinny Magliulo, Alex White alongside. Hey, it's a football Sunday, right? Right, guys? Football
right.
Sunday, always good.
Alex is kicking extra points
Tyler
today.
Bass jersey. If you had that in the pool today, congratulations.
Yeah.
Cashed a ridiculously high number. But,
Very high number. Yes.
Bills obviously in the game of the day today against Miami.
Is.
But first, Vinny.
Yes, sir.
Got two things quickly here for you.
Yeah.
Right now, we got a game going on in London.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville 20, Atlanta 7. You guys closed 3-43 on this one.
Yes. We don't need a 3, obviously, by the home team, right? The
It's going to be hard for this to land on a 3, Vinny.
I think so.
Yeah.
But then again, you never know. 12.5 for the in game right now, or 3, almost anywhere from $2.70 to $3 on the money line. You think that's cheap?
That's up 13.
I never said you couldn't lay a price.
Up 13 with 6 minutes to go when he got the ball back. I thought that was pretty cheap. Yes.
All right. Well, that's why it's going up.
Jacksonville becoming very comfortable in London. That is why I stayed away from this game. I think you may have taken the Jags.
We had Jacksonville -3, and also I did lay a money line price on Jacksonville because, except of course for here at the South Point, there are a lot of 3-20s, 3 -20s in the market, and a bunch of -165, -160 on the money line that was out there, and I just laid a money line price that was not that much more than a -120 on most books on the -3. So just went with that. Rather not mess around with the points.
You want to sell that ticket?
Well, look, if at this point, kind of like our Duke tickets that went up in flames late last night, Alex. If Jacksonville doesn't win this game outright, I really don't want to see it, even though it's on in the studio here, Vinny.
No, I wouldn't. So try to divert your mind.
Yeah. Yesterday.
Don't look at that screen.
No, not yet, at least. Vinny, yesterday, big college card as always.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Good game. Good day. You know, it was kind of up and down all morning and afternoon. The Baylor game went against us. That was a big decision that went the public's way. And so, but you know, overall, good. Business was good. Business up again. And so, as long as we're writing tickets, and you know, our visitors from out of town are here, and they mingle with our locals. Great atmosphere, great setting, and sets up a terrific day today. So a lot of business today, as you can see behind us. I know we have a shot at the book as well. So all 12 windows in action, kiosks.
There it is.
11 kiosks and 3 windows in the race book today. So
a lot of people lurking, waiting to take their Jacksonville tickets, hopefully in about 25 minutes, cash them and flip them into a few bets for the 10 a.m.
Yeah, that rush. Now, so you combine that with the actives and inactives that are coming through that just came out. But yeah, they'll and again, people adjust. People wonder, you know, about the 6:30 games, right? The 6:30 Pacific start for these games. Listen, they're fine. They're good. They're strong because folks have bet. They either bet them yesterday, but again, as a 24-hour, a 3-shift town with a 24-hour book here at the South Point, we get plenty of people coming in after work, Alex, and that'll work in swing shift and take advantage, and they play all night.
Oh, I'm sure. I was just looking at all my games, and I don't have anything on the later games just yet, and I find that very ironic that I may by the end of the day.
I think we'll tempt you with something.
At
some point.
I have no doubt.
I tend to agree with that on my account as well. All right, let's get to it. The rotation numbers got the order of greatness of the games potentially right here, right out of the chute, Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
Game of the day, people calling it the early season game of the year in Western New York. Tyler Bass is active, by the way, for Buffalo, even though that wasn't a doubt. The Bills and Miami. Vinny, 52 and a half right now on the total. And 3, you've toggled between 2.5 and 3 throughout the week, which means anything but Buffalo by 3 for you.
Yeah, that's and again, we had a couple of college games fall this week, but again, and just to remind some folks that when a number does fall on the part of the favorite, all of those wagers are refunded, and then what's either taken or laid in the case of the favorite. Anything lower or higher, if anybody got a 3.5 or a 7.5 the other night on the college games, I think one was the Louisville game, and then the Cincy? No, it wasn't the BYU game. But anytime those numbers fall, it bodes better for the other side of the counter. But again, it's just a matter of transferring funds, as I always say.
Alex, anything here?
Hoping this big game doesn't disappoint. I think a lot of people are expecting a shootout, wanting a shootout. We know the Dolphins are okay with that. I am on the Bills. I laid the 2.5, going for the Bills with their defense, especially with stopping the run. And we've seen what Miami has been able to do running the football. And then, of course, opening up those big plays for their 2 wide receivers. But yeah, after scoring 70 points last week against the Broncos, I'm leaning with the Bills this week at home, 7-0 against the Dolphins at home in their last 7.
I think the key here is, I know that when the Dolphins played the Patriots have a good defense. I think the Bills' defense is actually better, and I think the Bills' running game this year is better too. And I as much as we know that the Bills can score, I don't think they necessarily really want to get into a shootout with the Dolphins. I mean, we've seen as far back as last year, right, Alex? I mean, we'll cite the Ravens game last year where they were down 3 touchdowns I think at the start of the fourth quarter, and they came back not only to tie, but they won the game. So because what makes the Dolphins very good is that it doesn't matter the kind of game they get into because of their propensity to be able to score points. I think that Fangio's defense will get better as the year goes by, but I think today, if you like the Bills, you want to see them run the ball a little bit more, and I think that's going to be their strategy.
Unbelievably important game for Week 4 for Buffalo. You lose this game, you're 0-2 in the division. Miami.
It's a 3-game swing, right?
Yeah, Miami would have the tiebreaker with winning the road game.
Yeah.
Miami would also be 2-0 in the AFC East. They already beat New England. And for Buffalo, and I just looking at the way that this season I think will play out for Buffalo, their schedule gets a lot more difficult on the back end this year. You have to be handling your business early in the year if you're the Bills. Take out Miami when you get them at home. Next week, the Buffalo home game in London against Jacksonville, which is exactly the way that the Bills wanted that one. Instead of getting that game in December with the team from Florida coming up north. Yeah. Instead, you basically play a Jacksonville home game as one of your own home games. But Buffalo's done what they've always done in this run, in this 3-year run where they have just destroyed bad teams. And what did they do the last 2 weeks? I don't care that Washington's 2-1. They're still a bottom half team. They pummeled them. The Raiders, they pummeled them. And then the Jets, who are probably a bottom half team at this point.
But offensively,
they're a bottom 4 team. Yeah. But the last 3 games against the Jet defense, Josh Allen has been awful. And they lost that game Week 1, despite Aaron Rodgers getting hurt on play number 4. I like Buffalo today. I think this is a good spot to go against a team that they're at the peak right now at the market. Could they go higher as the year goes along? Yeah, maybe. Maybe Miami is a 13-win team when it's all said and done if Tua stays healthy. But I like it. I laid a money line price. I didn't bother with the points. I just laid a -145 on Buffalo. That's what I ended up doing.
Yeah, that's a fair price. And again, money is moving. I mean, I think you can probably find. I mean, we're going to have -110 on the 3 or the 2.5, whatever the case may be. But there's money lines. You've got the ability to shop. A money line. Maybe 2.5 -$1.20 or -$0.25, or 3 even up top, or 3 -15, whatever the case may be, plus the points. At the end of the day, again, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be on just about every ticket, every multi-leg ticket, every teaser, every parlay. Everybody's going to have an opinion on this game, more so than probably any other game, excluding tonight's game because it's the primetime game between the Chiefs and Jets, Alex.
Forgive me if you said this, Vinny. Are you seeing more money on the over or the under?
On this one today, it's actually, I mean, we're at 52.5. It opened 53.5. It got as high as 54.5. So pretty good two-way action on the total right now. Yeah.
So people really just
Yes.
want to have an opinion on,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
on the outcome,
Yeah.
which is
And again, we would love for this game to be the primetime game, but again, people adjust, and it's the fact that it's 10 o'clock Pacific time. Everybody's made their adjustments, and they've got an opinion, and they played it. So this will be I'll tell you, right, this will be one of the higher handled 10 a.m. games. Not just today; it'll be the highest one, but of the season. I mean, it's that strong.
You read my mind. That was exactly what I was about to ask you.
Well,
Will
I
that be
try
the
to-
highest, even though it's week 4, will it end up being one of the higher 10 a.m. handle games? And I would expect it to be as well.
Yes.
Yes. See, every once in a while I can think of reasonable questions and Vinny answers before they're even asked.
Listen.
All right, now we got back-to-back 0-3 bowls. Let's start in Charlotte first.
Ouch.
Vinny, Minnesota, look, they can't do anything normal. It's either one extreme or the other for these Vikings the last 2 years. After having the best record ever in one-score games last year, they're now 0-3, and all of these games have been one-score losses. And now they go to Charlotte. Bryce Young is going to play, missed last week with the hamstring injury. Minnesota's up to 4.5 now, Vinny, which is the highest it's been all week. This happened a little bit before that Great London kickoff got rolling this morning.
I think even with the Vikings injuries, I think what we're seeing here is it's not just a play against the Panthers. I think it's a play against the rookie quarterback who has, of the 3 rookie quarterbacks starting the season, you've got Carolina, you've got Houston, and Indianapolis. I just think that Bryce Young is having the most challenging time in terms of reading defenses and things. So I think it's a play on the Vikings. Call it a little bit of being due, but even with their injuries, it's a play against Young, and nothing against the kid. It's just a reality of, I think, how bettors perceive it, Alex.
And you saw that last week, right? People actually backing the Panthers when it was Andy Dalton, and then now they're fading the Panthers with Bryce Young being back. And
great point.
no play for me on this one. I think the number is where it should be. Kind of a desperation game for the Vikings, so I do think they get this win, but I passed.
Yep, and the total being bet up to 46.5. You may see 47 off the 45 opener. And again, as you mentioned, Jeff, 3 on the opener on Sunday night here at South Point. Now up to 4.5. There've been 5s. So again, it's there's no secret who the house is going to need and who the bettors are going to need in this one.
I have no plays on this game. I really want to see how Young looks because now we're a few weeks in. We're looking at a year where, look, it could be a lost season for Carolina. They were the worst team in the NFL until they made the firing a rule and Wilkes somehow got them back in the playoff race. But in the end here, Minnesota got to win. Just got to win.
Yep.
But I'm not comfortable laying the 4.5, especially when I had better numbers earlier in the week. Denver and Chicago. The game of the year, Broncos,
Where?
3-point favorites against the Bears on the road, 47 a total here.
Look, the difference with this game, I mean, the 0-3s compared to the previous game is, I think that not only did both cities' fan bases have high expectations for these teams, but so did bettors, right? When you look at the way these two teams were bet, and particularly to make the playoffs in their respective divisions, regular season wins to go over and things like that. I mean, that's what's been frustrating for it. Now, this game here has not moved as much as the other. It's still a field goal. We opened the Broncos 3.5. And it's gone back and forth between 3 and 3.5. So they're taking the 3.5 with the hometown Bears here, who again, now you've got dissent too, right? I mean, the coach, offensive coordinator left a couple of weeks ago. You've got quarterback issues. You've got instability. You got people that are just there's a lot of disharmony within the organization. And Claypool, receiver this week, who Claypool is now it was his week, I guess, to criticize the organization. Look, it's a play here on more experience, I think, Alex, in terms of the Broncos.
Call me crazy, but I lean a little bit to the over, and that is because they're two of the worst defenses. I didn't play it because my fear is that they will actually match up pretty well and defend each other well, but I did lean to the over. I think it went up a little bit. It opened
did.
46.
Yep.
46 up to 47 now. Probably may go a little bit higher
May
too.
climb.
Yeah.
And I would lean to the Bears a little bit here too. But Jeff, remind me, you said this early on in the season. Their win total, they won 3 games last year, and then their win total jumped all the way to.
Look, it's very hard in this league to win 5 more games than you did in the previous season, especially when your roster, they got DJ Moore, yes, got some better pieces on the offensive line. Very hard to win 5 extra games. So I was stunned that people were betting them over. It's Chicago people.
It was 8.
It was 7.5.
7.5. Okay, people betting that over.
And people loved people love Justin Fields in the MVP market, which was wild also.
I remember it. As far as winning 5 extra games, how about winning 1?
Winning 1, yeah.
Winning 1 would be a good start.
I have nothing in this game. All I will say is there is an absolute possibility that the quit factor shows up for either of these teams and potentially both of these teams. So monitor that in-game perspective-wise. That would be the way that I would look to play this one.
Good point, Jeff. And and as far as instability in Chicago, I don't think there's a lot of harmony in Denver between coach and quarterback.
Definitely
I
not.
think they're on
Definitely not.
the same page at all. By the way, looks like we have a final from London.
Jacksonville 23, Atlanta 7. Jacksonville covers. Game goes under with relative ease over at Wembley Stadium. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Jimmy's in studio. Jimmy Vaccaro joins us next here on Sports by the Book. Welcome back in at Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio.
Right.
I'm Jeff Parles.
You scared me.
I see. Cash that ticket again.
I told you it's a given. It's a given with Jimmy. He's going to comment right away as soon as you. By the way, I just want to point out one thing for the folks. I mentioned the folks. We're live here at the South Point studio, and we got the folks behind us. We're on in the book, and appreciate everybody for listening and watching. Alex's fan base is greater than Taylor Swift's. I just want you to know.
Yeah.
We have to have security here. We have to secure the studio because people are just trying to get in and everything like that. Forget about. I don't know where Taylor Swift's going to be tonight. I don't know if she's going to be at MetLife, but I know this. We just can't control the Alex White fan base.
Oh, Vinny, I love it. Thank you.
Well, you didn't hear what happened, did you?
No, go ahead, Jimmy. You had to fight your way to get in here.
Well, meanwhile, Taylor didn't ask me to go to see the Kansas City game. This beautiful young lady asked me to go to a UNLV game. I mean, just
there you go.
Is that a little bit of difference?
Get security. You're going to need security.
That sounds about right.
They both teams wear red. I mean, that's pretty close, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
and I can get you in the box.
You're right, kiddo.
We love Alex.
I just stopped in to show you something and then explain something to me and Vincenzo. He'll jump in also in YouTube. I got a ticket here on a money line bet on the Buffalo Bills, and the guy laid $1.40, 14,000 to win 10,000. No, that's not a gigantic bet, but what we're getting at anymore, Vincenzo, you can help me with this. Teasers used to be a thing much more that the wise guys would play, but we've jacked the prices up on it because we've been getting whacked around pretty good. So the next move is that we're seeing more and more of these money line bets. And obviously, when you get someone who you understand that they understand what's going on, this guy's laying $1.40. This has to be the best price in the city or anywhere else. So what I'm telling you is this industry keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So so the teasers will always be there from the people who obviously just want to bet $40, $50. But this is a big sign. You got a guy obviously knows what the hell he's doing.
Yep.
And he's betting money lines for $10,000. Vincenzo?
Yeah, I think Chance, it brings up a terrific point. Listen, everybody thought that for years teasers were quote unquote a sucker bet. They're not. Here's what tells you. The most telling aspect about teasers. When Jimmy and I got into the business, in the NFL, you had 6, 6.5, and 7-point teasers, which you still do. And they were even, minus a dime, maybe minus $1.20. Well, teasers now here at South Point, which are still the lower price teasers, they're typically higher in a lot of places. 6 points minus a quarter, minus 125, minus $1.40 for 6.5, and minus $1.50. That tells you how much more involved professionals, Alex, will get with teasers when the value is there, especially when you cross over key numbers. We'll do a teaser segment down the road just to kind of educate folks. But to Jimmy's point, lay in 7 to 5. Even now, you you could say, well, you could take a 7-point teaser and maybe get 4 points with the Bills, but he's also going to put up $1.50, an extra 10 cents here, or perhaps $1.60 in other places.
And you're also going to be relying on two teams with that money line bet right there. You just have to rely on the one.
Yeah.
And don't forget this, because obviously we're out front with everything we say. We're real time. Everything happens. It happens. It's happening now. But let me give you. It's not going to stop you. But like, you could book college teasers with no money starting out, because college teasers are unbeatable from your side of the counter. I'm telling you that, like, oh, Jimmy, I said, because it doesn't matter if I tell them, they're not going to stop betting them.
They love
but what happens, like, especially with the college team, if someone's winning 17-0 at the half, I mean, they're going to keep betting it, to a bad price. In the pros, it doesn't happen that way. This is pretty significant. I am telling you.
Well said, Jim. Good job.
All right, I'm done.
It's up to you.
It's up to you.
Well, then I'm leaving.
Okay, very good.
You're going to go get more tickets. Yeah. There he goes.
There he goes, Jimmy Vaccaro, everybody.
Jimmy, calm these people down behind us.
Oh, they're backing up like
Jimmy Vaccaro.
Everyone, always great.
Now,
to see Jimmy.
now Jimmy's going to go back to the counter and give the patented bet number, bet type, bet amount.
Yeah,
there it is.
As always.
That's it. Guiding.
Bob Shepard at Yankee Stadium, Jimmy Vaccaro at the
I have a tape.
Sportsbook.
I have a tape.
You do have a tape?
Absolutely.
Good.
That's
good. That's good. That's what it has to be.
It's a Hall of Fame. It's a Hall of Fame announcement.
Until the end of time.
That's right.
Until the end of time
That's
on
right.
that, for sure. All right, back to the games. We go here. You know what, Vinny? This game just moved a little bit behind us. Baltimore and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's out. The shoulder. He went out to try out the shoulder this morning. No go.
Right.
Apparently a very quick no go. So
yesterday was a go.
Yesterday was a go, questionable. All right, we think he's going to go. No Watson. DTR. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
NFL debut for Thompson Robinson, of course, the UCLA product, who was awesome in the preseason.
Terrific preseason.
Great preseason. Vinny?
UCLA and Bishop Gorman.
Yes. That's very good.
The Las Vegas and
very good.
LA combo. Vinny up to 2 now on Baltimore. This is obviously a favorite flip with Watson's news this morning.
This is a game that has absolutely been a roller coaster. So, again, we opened the NFL here. Chris Andrews, director here at South Point, releases the NFL on Sunday night prior to the primetime game kickoff. The Browns opened 2 and got as high as 3 earlier in the week with the Browns favored. And, of course, now with the news, it's an adjustment. And people scrambling to either get off of their Browns bet or, waited until, there was when the inactives and actives came out. We came on the air. The Ravens were a 1.5-point favorite. And now, as you mentioned, Jeff, just went to 2 here. Look, injuries to both sides here.
Yes,
the Ravens are not, both teams are beat up. I would say, though, overall, I think the Ravens are healthier on offense, but I think the Browns are healthier on defense, Alex. So that's what you're also going to have to weigh in this handicap.
Absolutely. You just said it perfectly. And the Browns have had the best defense in the league right now, according to a lot of stats, especially in the red zone. But with the Ravens, and you have John Harbaugh, who is a great coach, you would think he would get this win. DTR looked great in the preseason, but we can't put too much of that into his first NFL start.
Well, he's going against, even with the injuries, going against a Harbaugh defense is going to be a real test for the young man.
If you had 42.5 on the total earlier in the week, under that, you're feeling okay about yourselves right now.
And actually, what's interesting too, even when the Browns went to a 2.5, 3-point favorite, they were betting this game under. So a 42.5, Jeff, to your point, and now sitting at 38.5. We may actually go lower as we get closer to kickoff.
Total didn't move with the news of Watson being out.
No, but it was already down. I mean, it was already
move,
bet under.
Still at 38.5 on that one. Yes. Oh, here, let's hand Jimmy. Let's pass Jimmy's glasses down all the way across.
Don't get old.
There you go.
No problem, Jimmy. Let's go to a game that actually Vinny just moved. Houston and Pittsburgh. You guys are the lone 2.5 in the market right now on the Steelers.
Yeah.
You have toggled this game 3, 2.5, 3, back to 2.5 now. A few minutes ago. with a total of 41.5 Steelers.
Yeah,
Favorite on the road.
Again, when we talk about moving the money on 3, that's not a critique. I've done both. I've done 2.5, 3, 3.5, or 3, 3.5. I've moved the money, but look, it's just a matter of preference. And here at South Point, it is everything on the sides at minus 110. So folks are laying the Steelers with 2.5, and they're taking the 3 with the Texans. So once again, don't need the road favorite here to close to fall 3, Alex. And I don't know if you have a preference in this game, but again, another rookie quarterback going against a terrific Steeler defense.
No preference in this game for me. I do lean to the under. Both these teams coming off big wins last week that hurt me pretty bad. Last Sunday was pretty brutal for me. I think it might have been one of my toughest since I've started this sports betting journey. But I did learn one thing, and that is to trust your numbers. I told you guys my numbers say Steelers, and I went with the Raiders, and that one hurt. So stay away from me. I do lean to the under. Both had great games last week, and I think they kind of come back down to earth this week against each other.
I think Alex brings up an important point about trusting your numbers, right? Because it's your money, it's your instincts, and you've been doing it a while now, Alex. And of course, you've got terrific resources with your dad and your grandfather as well. But look, I think that. That's an important point that Alex brings up. The other thing is too, with your number, I'm curious. Here's what I'm looking for in this game. I thought that the Steelers offensively last week made some adjustments. Everybody was crucifying Canada those first couple of weeks. I thought that he made some changes to Kenny Pickett's game that helped. Now, listen, the Raider defense is struggling, so I want to see how they adjust today if he continues to make some adjustments. I think there's a lot of folks, in that are, Jet fans who wish that the Jets would make some of these adjustments too that are tailor-made, to the quarterback situation there. But that to me is something I'm going to watch very closely here to see what the game plan is and how Canada, if he keeps tweaking Pickett's game.
I'm a little bit surprised at the way this game has been bet because of the injuries to the Texans' offensive line. Both tackles aren't playing again. Mm-hmm. Yes, they didn't play last week, and Houston played really well and won on the road at Jacksonville. But TJ Watt's a little bit different than anything that Jacksonville's pass rush is throwing at you. It's getting to the point where I probably will lay a small money line price on Pittsburgh before this game goes. If Houston beats me, so be it. And I mentioned this earlier in the week. Texans just so much better in the coaching department now with Ryans there as opposed to what they had the last 2 years with Coley and Lovie Smith.
And you're probably going to lay a higher money line price because of what you're saying, Jeff. So typically, you look at that 3 anywhere from let's say 40, 45, maybe. You're going to lay a higher price simply because of the aspects that you mentioned.
Best price I can do right now is $1.50.
That'll go up.
Yeah. I can,
as we get closer to kickoff.
I could still get a die. See, we might have to take a commercial so I can get the bet.
Get your phone app working. We can broadcast and bet at the same time.
See, it's a fun gig every once in a while here, Vinny. Let's go to another 1:00 game. Boy, more often.
Excuse me. By the way, we just went back to 2.5 on the Steelers. So. 2.5 at 3, 2.5. Good times.
Rams and Colts. More offensive line injuries. Colts missing 3 starters on the O-line today. The Rams played just an abysmal game from their offensive line on Monday. Couldn't block Trey Hendrickson
which was one of their strengths
2 years ago.
But even the first couple of games of the season, right?
So, Vinny, here's the deal with this one. Rams are now 1. Anthony Richardson is going to play after missing last week with a concussion. Indy's upset victory on the road in Baltimore behind Gardner Minshew and taking advantage of all those Raven injuries. Totals down to 44.
And a great kicker.
Yes. McLaughlin.
Alex is better, though. She's a better kicker.
Well, again, Tyler Bass jersey cashes for a very big price today if you had that going into the show. But
what was the odds that I would wear a Tyler Bass jersey?
Oh, it was a favorite.
Probably
So I
a
would-
favorite.
I wouldn't.
Oh God! Now
Come
you're
on.
going hindsight's 2020 now.
No,
Vinny. Come on
listen.
now.
Listen. You have to know your teammates.
Oh,
You see.
Okay. But Vinny, Rams now won, total 44.5 on this one.
Yeah, this is a game that open pick. No Colts favorites here. You know, a lot of action on the total too. 40, 45, 46, 47, and now back down to 45. So I could see here a more experienced quarterback in the Rams with Stafford going against the rookie. Although I tell you what, Richardson. I thought the first couple of weeks, I thought Richardson was the better of the three rookie starters, Alex.
Oh, I couldn't agree
Reading
more.
the game.
And you said that perfectly. I am on the Colts at Pick'em. It's not my favorite ticket that I have, especially when you think about Matthew Stafford and his experience going against Anthony Richardson. But I like this Indianapolis team. They are fast, up-tempo. They're playing one of the quickest offenses. I mean, they're just 25 seconds per play, which is the second quickest in the NFL. And they seem energized. They're moving the ball down the field. The O-line makes me a little worried, but I mean, I've got the ticket, so we're riding with the Colts today.
There you go. Well coached too. I think.
Well, and the Rams, their defense has been, it's very thin. It's below average. We've got Aaron Donald, but not much besides that. So we'll see what they can do. I think it's going to be a close game. Obviously, that's why you guys had it at Pick'em for the week. But
Yep.
I don't have an individual bet on this game. Would be a lean to the Rams because of the offensive line injuries for Indy on my end. I'm curious to see how Richardson reacts to not having multiple offensive line starters out there. It's one thing with Minshew,
No question.
where yes, he's a backup quarterback, but he's been around the league. He's
very
a veteran,
serviceable, and
he's a good backup
he's
too.
good.
Vinny. Yeah.
He's good.
And-
He could start for a lot of teams.
I could start for one team that wears green.
And-
You know that for sure.
Head east.
But
Head east.
we could see him, though. We could see him get some snaps as well.
Well, I would imagine if you're Indy, you want Richardson out there as much as possible.
If he could stay healthy, right?
He
He
has
got
not
knocked
finished
out.
a game
He's
yet
not.
this
Yeah,
year.
he's gotten
Had
hurt.
the knee injury at the end of the Jacksonville
First
game. Which,
game.
in all honesty,
And then-
cost the cover for Indy. If he was on the field, they get 3
Probably.
yards. And then the concussion against Houston
Yeah.
knocked him out of last week as well. Sean McVay is a really good coach.
That's right.
And we forgot that because of the horrible year last year. And look, they're 1-2 with playing 3 teams that were in the playoffs last year. They win in Seattle. They cover against the Niners. They cover some early numbers last week against the Bengals. But Vinny brought up a good point, though, at Indy. Shane Steichen clearly knows what he's doing. And I think even though Philly, we talked about Philly, and we'll get to the Eagles in a second here. The Eagles are 3-0 against the number and 3-0 overall.
Ask Jalen Hurts
And
if
their
he
offense
knows what he's
doesn't look
doing.
the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't look the same without Steichen there. All right. Derek Carr looks like he's in. He
Yes.
is going to play today. And a number has
What?
what? Yeah, he's in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
okay.
in.
I did not know that.
With the
Yeah.
AC
With the
injury,
AC
he's in.
thing.
He's
Okay.
in.
He's in. Up to 4 now,
and
Vinny.
the number speaks to it, right? 2.5 to 3. And I think there was anticipation, but based on the way this number has and the game has been bet from 2.5 to 3 to 3.5, and now today when it was confirmed he's going to start, now up to 4. So this is definitely the side that's getting played, especially off of Monday night where the Bucks. Well, credit the Eagles defense for a terrific game and some injuries. I think that even with Carr maybe not being 100%, I think the Saints are the healthier team here, Alex, and I think that's what the way the game's been bet. Now, if it gets to 4.5, it's probably a take.
All that talk. I mean, Derek Carr even said Jameis Winston, he's a starter. I thought for sure he was starting, but I actually have a play on the under here with Carr in that kind of changes a little bit, but it was more because of these defenses anyways, and they're both kind of bend but don't break, allow the other team to move down the field a little, but then they've been very good in the red zone, both Tampa Bay and the Saints. And then, the Bucks take their time. I didn't have a dog in the fight on Monday night, but I was a little frustrated watching them against the Eagles take their time down the field when they needed to come back. So I've got under 40.5 in this one.
Okay, good. I mean, actually, they're betting it over too. I guess with the car announcement. So 41 and a half. But to your point, it could be a grind out game.
This was the first game this week that got the gigantic X through it for me. Even with
more than the 2 0-3s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Well, definitely more than
2
the Bears.
0-3 games.
Definitely more with the Bears. There was a legitimate argument at 3.5 to take the Bears. I didn't bother because I didn't want to. There are better ways to spend your Sunday than sweating out a Bears bet in 2023. So that was the part of the reason I didn't take that. And Minnesota's better than Carolina at the better number, not now at 4.5, but no feel at all. Wouldn't shock me if the best play in this game is what Alex has at the under. Mm-hmm. New Orleans' defense is really good. And Tampa Bay, we talked about Tampa Bay throughout the year. You like Baker Mayfield, Vinny. And the defense still has a lot of pieces from that Super Bowl winning team of a few years ago. I would say if you made me bet this game, I would go with Alex. Especially I would bet it here because the market high is 41.5.
Thank you.
And would take that under.
You're a house man.
Every once in a while, right?
We still just don't know what we have with this Tampa Bay team. I mean, they come out hot, 2-0, and then we see them come back to reality a little bit against the Eagles on Monday. But
yeah, I think Tampa. I had Tampa. I had Tampa as one of the worst teams in the league going into the year. I had them in a bottom 5 power.
Going into the season.
Yeah, into the year. Yeah. I had them as a bottom 5 team going into the season. Mm-hmm. Now, closer to about team 23, 24. They're still a back-end team, but they have a defense that when you're playing other bad teams, you should be able to be in
upper half of that.
Yeah, upper half of the
bottom
half.
Third.
Yeah, upper half, bottom third.
Yeah,
bottom, just barely at the back end of the league on that one. All right, looks like we got more Jimmy. Jimmy, come on in. Come on in.
There you go.
Yeah, please.
That's why you're here.
Jimmy Vaccaro back in. We got some more big bets.
Well, the reason I'm here is like we talked about money lines.
Get the mic.
The last 10 minutes, we took 2 $10,000 bets on money line. So as we keep telling you, like the show is always real time. The show is always backed up with stuff that's like right on the money.
There's one of those has got to be Jeff Parles.
No, it's not. They're two underdogs actually.
Browns plus $1.20 for 10,000 wins 12,000.
Okay.
And the Panthers plus $1.90, 10 wins 19,000. That's a juicy little bet, right? Sure. But the reason I'm here is just tell you, like everything we tell you, it's right on the money. It's real time. We will never feed you anything that we can't back up with what we do in the sports book.
And when you look at a field goal game, if you like the dog, you probably think that they have a chance to win the game, number one. And number two, the way we talk about professionals, in particular, professional bettors, betting numbers, well, they'll bet prices as well. And these are some of the better money line prices on the dogs that are available. Right, Jimmy?
One more thing, and I know that you've obviously, a lot of people know it, but like I don't mind telling people because in the interest of like trying to be a fair joint, we are. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying with this, and Vinny hit it right on the number. Let's say a game was +3 up there, and you missed the +3. Take the money line after that. Don't take 2.5 and 2 on this side. Mm-hmm. You'll come out more ahead in the long run if you don't get your +3. Now you're taking the money line. You can't go and take +2.5 for 10,000. You're a jerk.
There you go. Yeah,
all right,
Jimmy. Thank you as always.
You're very welcome.
And that's 10 on the Browns and 10 on the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
You sure they're not yours? I thought.
I trust.
They were laying behind his chair.
Jimmy, I can tell you right now.
That big
the bettor that bet Carolina has a lot more fortitude than I do. That's all I'll say. There's a lot more fortitude.
You're welcome anytime. Tell your cousin.
Jimmy Vaccaro, everybody.
You got your glasses? Did you get your glasses?
Yes, he has his glasses.
Right, there you go.
He has his glasses.
Okay.
As he leaves the studio. I always love when Jimmy's in. Always love it, for sure. All right, to Philadelphia we go next. Eagles, Washington Commanders. Vinny, 43 right now here on the total. Eagles up to 9. That's the market high for Vegas. There are some in the newer jurisdictions that have 9.5 on this game.
Yeah, and again, the question is, will it get to 10? I don't know if it does. If it does get to 10, again, we talk about a number, a play on a number, and taking 10, even with the Commanders after last week's game. Listen, I think we found out quite a bit about about Sam Howell last week, and again, we talk about the Bills, and their defense was terrific. Howell was harassed the entire game. So And now going against the Eagles defense, which we saw firsthand on Monday night, Alex. But yeah, open 7 on Sunday night. And now, again, when the game goes off, you're also going to adjust based on what you see out of that game. So let's remember this: that if there's a game on Sunday night, and the next game, we'll put the numbers up, but before the Sunday night or Monday night game, we'll hold up on the teams that are involved in those games, to monitor injuries, particularly if there's an injury to the skill position player, especially the quarterback, and then to see how the game plays out. And what we saw Monday night warranted a timeout and an adjustment. So, but they did lay the Eagles on Monday night, especially off of the Commanders' performance on Sunday, and now here we are sitting at 9, Alex, and a total down from 44.5 to 43, and that's, I think, got a lot to do with the Commanders' offense and, of course, the Eagles' defense.
And to your point, Vinny, I think Monday night was the Eagles' best all-around performance from all units, and this isn't an overreaction against Washington. I already had this game circled because of the revenge factor here. I love the Eagles. I laid the 8.
Good for you. Good. There you go. Crush your numbers.
Lean to the over would be the only thing I look at here.
I don't too.
I don't like Washington's defense. I think what we saw last week, actually really 2 weeks ago in the first half against Denver, is closer to what they are, because Denver really moved the ball in that first half, 21 points against Washington. I think Philadelphia could roll here too. I didn't bet it, but it wouldn't shock me if Philly rolls here and gets the 4-0. And 4-0 against the number, which is very impressive as well if they covered this big number here today. All right, last 10 a.m. Pacific game. Vinny, Cincinnati is a 2.5-point favorite on the road in Nashville against the Titans. Total 41.5. I'll just ask you this real quick, Vinny. Where Burrow we saw on Monday night, he played. There were no re-aggravation of the calf, but he's still nowhere near 100%. And Chris brought this up on Friday on the show. This number is cheap if Joe Burrow is 100%, but we know he is not close to that.
Well, you look at this, and again, here to my previous point about posting the numbers and then waiting to see what happens, posting the numbers on Sunday night and see what happens in the primetime games on Sunday night and Monday. We actually had the Titans as a 1.5-point favorite in this game because it looked like Burrow was quite questionable, if not doubtful, right? And it was a game-time decision against the Rams. But we know, and here's the other thing, the other takeaway from the game against the Rams, he's not throwing the ball downfield. I mean, I think most of his throws were less than 20 yards or 25 yards. So, and now he's got talented receivers that, with the yards after catch aspect are significant. But look, here's the thing: this game now with Cincinnati up to 2.5. The adjustment was them 1.5 to 2, and then they're betting them. Tennessee's offense is not played well at all, Alex. But that said, if you saw a 3 in this game, what would you do, if anything? So
this game was X'd out for me for that reason, Vinny, because I feel like I'm getting burned by the Titans and that +3, especially last week. So I'm going to sit back and watch this one, make sure that my numbers are correct, especially with Tennessee. If I was going to play this game, it would definitely be the under, because both these teams, I mean, Cincinnati averaging 15.3 points a game and Tennessee just 15. Haven't seen them do a whole lot here. So I would lean to the under, though.
41.5.
I put the X through this one. If anything, it would be, again, a Bengal play. If Burrow is 90%, the Bengals are much better. But I need to see it before putting the money down on Cincinnati at this point here in 2023. All right, to the late games we go. Chargers, Raiders, 6.5 now, Vinny. Aiden O'Connell will start for the Raiders. I am stunned that Josh McDaniels and company got this decision right. It does not matter how O'Connell looks today. We know what Brian Hoyer is. He has not won a game since 2016. It has been a while since Brian Hoyer has won a game as a starter in this league. You have to see what you have in the rookie with Jimmy Garoppolo out with a concussion in this game. And it's a pretty darn good spot to do it since the Chargers are Bosa's out. Derwin James is out. On the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, Mike Williams tore his ACL
done for
last
the
week.
season.
Eckler doubtful. Their center's out. I mean, this is a good opportunity for Vegas with the rookie quarterback in there. You know what? If this thing somehow gets to 7, I'm taking the Raiders. I don't think it's going to get there, and if it does, Vinny, you got to get it in a flash.
Well, don't blink if it does. I mean, at 6.5 now, the total is it opened at 51, got as low as 47 in some spots, but now 48. Look, the key is, I think, of all the things we talked about, what about the Raider defense? I mean, they haven't been able to stop the run.
Not been good.
Their offense has started. They have no running game whatsoever. We know that as long as the Chargers can score points, right? Let's face it. So even with the injuries that they have, this is a big test for the Raiders and a big tell for O'Connell. But again, it's about the number, Alex.
Tailing you, Vinny, is very good for me because you make a lot of my points for me, and then I just have to say to what Vinny said. So I do have.
Thank you, Alex.
I have the Chargers minus 5.5 here. Concussion protocol. I knew Jimmy Garoppolo was not going to be playing this soon after that, but I mean, mostly what you said. We know the Chargers can score. Justin Herbert has looked fantastic. He has no interceptions. He is doing his job. I hope this isn't like a pray get Justin Herbert a win here, but I think against the Raiders defense, they're going to get it done. And I might be able to count on Josh McDaniels to go for a kick instead of a touchdown. So
I still can't.
You mean his math prowess?
We're a week later, and I still can't believe that he did that. And he had a redo at it and still got it wrong.
Right.
That's the most amazing part of what we saw on Sunday.
Believe in your numbers.
Yeah.
As Alex said.
But I will.
Trusting the numbers.
He did.
I have the Chargers minus 8.5. I might be missing a couple key injuries.
Yeah, I will say this with on the Raiders' perspective, real quick. If O'Connell plays well, even if they lose,
well, it's a bright spot, right?
I mean, this is one of those where if you're the Raiders, your season's 1-3. I know you don't want to say, all right, our season's over after 4 weeks, but you have to give a long, hard thought about playing more O'Connell and just taking your time with Jimmy G, or heck, even move him. Some teams need some quarterbacks. Atlanta proved that this morning yet again, and there's a team that wears green that obviously needs a quarterback as well. Let's go to Dallas, New England, Cowboys. Patriots down to 6, Vinny. It's been all Patriot move here.
Yeah, and I think this is a few things that speak to that, right? I mean, I think what we saw last week with the Cowboys, again, I don't believe that NFL teams have letdowns, but they do, or look-aheads, but they do have letdowns. Did they take the Cardinals for granted last week? I think so, but it also what compounded their situation was the significant injuries and the amount of injuries to their offensive line. I think also what we saw is the Cowboys, they can't stop the run. And in this game, here you have Ezekiel Elliott coming back to Dallas. You know that what Belichick is good at is maximizing what he has, but taking away the other team's strength. We saw it with the Jets, and what the Jets on paper, at least, we haven't seen it yet, but he completely took away their running game and said, I'm going to let Zach Wilson beat us. And that's exactly how they played the game, and that's how they were successful in that game. So I think it's about the coaching matchup here, coupled with the injuries. Now, the Patriots have some injuries too, but I think what people believe is, look, I'll take 7 with the coach that is strong in Belichick here, Alex, and that's how we got down to 6.
I agree. I do think it is a coaching matchup. I did stay away. You said yesterday too, which I agree with completely. Cowboys came out flat last week. You can say that too about professional athletes. They came out flat. They lost to the Cardinals. I think they do bounce back here, but didn't have a strong play either way to lay or take the points.
I'm a little surprised that people have been as aggressive on New England in this game. I really am. I think it's a little bit Dallas. There's no rational thinking ever when it comes to Dallas. It's either they're the greatest team ever, or wow, they stink.
Well, you love them or you love to hate them.
Yes,
right?
correct.
Yeah, like the Yankees.
And for Dallas last week, like that was every way you slice it, that was embarrassing. Lose that game outright by double digits, embarrassing. So I'm just curious here. Are we overreacting too much to the bad result from Dallas here with the way this game has been bad? I'm not saying New England isn't going to cover this game even at 6, but I'm just curious if this is a little too aggressive against Dallas, even with the offensive line injury to Smith, who won't play today.
Well, but also take into account that this is a 125 Pacific start. So
everyone will be betting it.
What happens this morning going to it in terms of parlays and teasers and is going to impact how this number moves as well. I mean, so I think that bears watching, Alex.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
2 more games for us to get to here in the last 5 minutes here on Sports by the Book. I'm Jeff Parles, Vinny Magliulo, Alex White alongside. Happy to be with you as always here at the South Point studio. All right, Niners and those Cardinals who won a game last week. And Vinny, we talked about
could be 3-0.
Very easily could be 3-0 on the season, as wild as that is. Deebo Samuel questionable. I think he will play when it's all said and done for the Niners, but something to at least monitor in the later kickoff here. Niners 14, Vinny, with a total of 43.5.
Has not moved.
Yep.
And that's, in speaking about the Cardinals, I give them a lot of credit because for a team that was supposed to quote unquote tank, I don't believe in professional teams tanking, because these are people, players and coaches that are fighting for their jobs. But when you look at how this team battles, this team competes, I'm not saying they're going to win this game. But when you look at the first 3 games with the Cardinals, they had a lead in every one of those games. In the second half, they could conceivably be 3-0. So I watch how teams battle and how they compete. This is an exact opposite to where I'm not saying that, for instance, the Bears don't battle, but the Bears have disharmony, and I think that comes into play here when you evaluate these types of situations with records, Alex.
And the Cardinals, they've come out fast in all 3 of those games, and they've tried to get on the board fairly quickly, and they did succeed in 2 of those games, jumping on the board first. So with that, I lean a little bit to the over here. Think it's going to be a fast starting game, and we talk about all the time how the offense has to catch up to the defense as the season goes on, but the Niners offense already looked like they were in midseason form coming out of the gate. So I think that this, they could put a lot of points on the board very early as well.
43.5 current total, up a little bit from the opener, 42.
Niners favorites to win it all going into the week. Niners number 1 in the power ratings. Niners 3-0, and depending on whatever number you got in that Ram game, either 2-0-1 or 2-1 against the number. So far this year. They play Dallas next week, so this is a little bit of a weird spot in that, but like Vinny said, you're professional, get it done. I didn't bet this game. Wouldn't shock me if the Cardinals do cover a big number, like 31-21, something like that. Wouldn't shock me at all in this one. All right, last one. Sunday night. All goes through this. Vinny, they're betting the Jets.
Yeah, they are.
They're betting the Jets from 9.5 at the peak down to 8 this morning now on Kansas City at MetLife Stadium. Total also, again, very rare you're ever going to see a total in the low 40s in a game Mahomes is playing in, but here we are at 41.5.
It's interesting. Chris and I had a difference of opinion on this game. Not so much the opening number of 9, but it did go to 9.5, so it looked like it was going to be cheap. I mean, we're never at a loss for Chiefs money, right? But I thought that it would not surprise me if this game had gotten to 10, particularly where it's positioned as the primetime game. And I think, again, if there's I mentioned how the Patriots-Cowboys game is going to be influenced by the morning and the other games in the afternoon. Well, this one will be the same way because everything will be going to it. Because he felt that the number would continue to come down, and so far he's right. I mean, it's down there. We just went to 8. So, look, even though it's the Jets, you have 2 teams really at the opposite ends of the performance spectrum. It's about the number, and look, maybe the Jets. Maybe they do make the adjustments that are necessary for Zach Wilson. I don't know, Alex. I haven't seen it yet.
Aaron Rodgers will be in attendance for this game, Vinny, so maybe he's calling the plays.
Well, whatever works.
Aaron Rodgers and Taylor Swift will both be there. That's what you're saying.
I don't know. I don't know if one has to do with anything of the other, but maybe it did. Who knows?
I did want to ask you, did you get a prop going yet? Like, how long does Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift?
Vinny
I don't care. I don't care.
That would be a good prop bet, I think.
How long it lasts?
Yeah.
Vinny hopes it ends tomorrow. That's all I'll say.
I could tell you this. For the people that did write in on social media, what does Taylor Swift mean to the number? Please. Okay.
That is fantastic.
Kelsey is one thing, but doesn't she impact his performance? I don't think on the field.
That's right.
Just saying.
I have no plays on this game.
I'm not surprised with the low number though, because I think we're starting to catch up to how good this Chiefs defense really is. So now and we know how good the Jets defense is.
Well, how good is the Chief defense? We just went to 7.5.
Well, wow.
Wow.
Just keep going. But I will say this with Kansas City so far through 3 weeks, they're 2-1. If the receivers didn't play like the worst possible game in week 1, they're 3-0.
Yeah.
Yes.
And their offense, I don't count anything from last week. The Bears gave up as soon as the Chiefs went down the field the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But against Detroit and Jacksonville, the Chiefs offense was out of sync. Now, Kelsey wasn't there in week 1. Kelsey was working back in week 2. This could finally be the week where he's fully healthy again in week 4.
But their defense has been
their
good.
defense is the reason that they look like, okay, I didn't know if they would take a little bit of a step backwards potentially after winning it all again. No, that defense is much better now than it was basically at any point it was a year ago. That's what makes them terrifying. And right now, if you look at the betting odds, the Niners and the Chiefs are the two short shots because of that.
Yep. That's it.
And it would not shock me if we get that rematch from that Super Bowl before the world shut down in 2020. Was the rematch just due north of here at Allegiant Stadium in February.
That's right.
Would not
Super
shock
Bowl
me
right here in Las Vegas.
one bit. All right. That's all the time we have here on Sports by the Book. Get your bets in. South Point mobile app. Get them in.
Thank you.
Get them in right now. The last few minutes before kickoff gets going. For Alex White and Vinny Magliulo, I'm Jeff Parles. Shout out to the crew, Ryan, Sean, and of course, Ann, as always, doing a great job back there. We'll see you. Yeah.
Don't forget, first team to score in time of game.
Time of game.
And highest scoring team of the day. Right here at South Point, and individual team totals.
I would take a shot on the Saints, by the way, in that prop, which is a bigger number, right?
The highest scoring team, or the first team?
First team to score.
The first team to score. You like the Saints? 20-1.
Don't mind the price on that one.
There you go, buddy.
We'll see you next time. We'll see you tomorrow, 3:00 Pacific time here on Sports by the Book.